Okay, again, the NIV says, and we will be ready to punish every act of disobedience once your obedience is made complete. Okay, I like it, but it's not good enough, especially because we have something already going on here. Continuation. Again, for you see, the weapons, because the weapons of our army are not fleshly, cosmic, but they are divine power weapons face to face with the demolition of strongholds, fortresses, demolishing reasonings, cosmic 2, and every lofty thought, cosmic 1, which raises itself against the knowledge of God. And then captivating every thought, cosmic 2 and cosmic 1, to the obedience of Christ. Now, verse 6. We have a connective chi, and it can also be a sequential chi. Then, so once you demolish the strongholds and you captivate every thought, captivate all those enemies, then something occurs. You have something. You have the victory. And just as in Rome, every time they won, and there was, say, the procession, the triumph, they used to exhibit their enemies, all the leadership of their enemies, not all of them, but those surviving ones, and their families, and a lot of the captives were exhibited in front of Rome in that procession. And Rome used to shout out things, enemy, traitor, and a lot of these captives used to be say things, shout things back. They knew they were about to die. They used to say such things as "Nos morituro salutamus" and all these things. And so they were exhibited. But after that exhibition of their enemies, they were slaughtered. Yes, they were slaughtered. And after being exhibited, they had the victory. They had the power of vengeance, and so they slaughtered them. First, you win the victory. First, you win. You demolish the stronghold. You captivate every thought, and then you take vengeance on that thought. But careful, we do not take vengeance against people. We do not take vengeance against the demons. We take vengeance on our disobedient thoughts. How do you do so? Well, the sin, you simply use 1 John 1:9, and whatever disobedient thought, you captivate it through the 10 problem-solving devices. You apply Bible doctrine to them in your conversation with God, and you understand that there was a wrong application here, a refusal to apply here and there. Where did you lack the application? And so you engage in some introspection to apply that and captivate that thought and slaughter it. But let me continue. So then, now I'm going to put this to the side really quick because there's a participle here. Ekhontes. This is the present active participle of echo. To have, to hold. We're going to translate it having. You have something after you win. Having. So, and what is that? You have the vengeance. The next word is an infinitive. Just let me go ahead to scoot up ahead a little bit. Ekdikeo. And this is an infinitive, but it's an objective. It serves as an object. You have something. You have the vengeance. After you win the victory, you have vengeance over your enemies. And your enemy here is your own thoughts, disobedient thoughts. Okay. Ekontes. This is the present, the progressive present for the continuous state of having to handle the thoughts after passing, say, a test. But here, with the context, it talks about arriving all the way to gate 8 of the divine power sphere. That is when your obedience is finally complete, when you are able to captivate every thought. You have the power of vengeance on your own thoughts, every single thought. It does not become fully fulfilled until you arrive at gate 8. Before that, you're still a spiritual infant, and from gate 1 to gate 4, your thoughts are still roaming around, being bosses of themselves, doing their own thing, regrouping, forming a new stronghold. New arrogant thoughts are formed. And so there's no such, it's really difficult to captivate every thought when you're a spiritual infant. But when you arrive at super grace, a lot of those thoughts start to become captivated. But once you arrive at gate 8, they are fully taken captive, and you are fully able to, you have a full vengeance over every disobedient thought. So this is a progressive present for the continuous state of having the victory after you accomplish your obedience. We'll go over certain points to explain this in detail later on. Okay, the active voice, you have the power of vengeance. The weapons here, because the weapons of our army are not fleshly, cosmic, but they are divine power weapons, face to face with the demolition of fortresses, and they are the ones that have the vengeance, the power of vengeance. Okay, and the participle is circumstantial. We can translate this as a finite verb. Then, having, the NIV said went ahead and translated as a finite verb. Then we will be ready to punish. I understand why they translated it as a finite verb. You can, but let's just go on with the participles so that you can see how this is formed. These are participles here: demolishing, and then here captivating, and then here another participle, having. So this is a continuation of the sentence with these participles. Then having, and now we have ekdikeisai, the aorist active infinitive of ekdikeisai. You see, having the vengeance refers to passing the test, whatever test. Once victorious, you have the power to avenge the truth by punishing, by taking revenge against the enemy. This is the analogous to executing your enemies after having won the battle, after having breached the walls and broken down those fortresses. Remember, this vengeance, however, is not against people, not against the demon boys. The battle is in your soul, and you deal with those enemies, your enemy thoughts. Those thoughts of disobedience. Okay, ekdikeisai. This is translated often to avenge, to take vengeance, to vindicate, to do justice, to punish, or to have the power to avenge. And all translations apply here. All of them. Because you take vengeance against who? Those enemy thoughts of disobedience. Who do you avenge? You avenge the truth, every thought which rises against the knowledge of God, the truth. You avenge the truth there. You vindicate. How is the truth vindicated there? Because the truth conquered, it was victorious, and now the truth takes vengeance, and it's vindicated. It does justice. But we're going to translate it punish, because the way you punish every act of disobedience inside of your soul deals with the application of a problem-solving devices. But remember, you must know something about yourself, therefore you must have a lot of Bible doctrine to be able to see yourself objectively and apply these Bible doctrines to whatever thoughts. If you're still too full of self-justification, you're going to try to justify any act of disobedience as an act of obedience, and that's another arrogant thought which raises itself against the knowledge of God. So see, you need to have a lot of Bible doctrine. Okay. Having ekdikeisai. So again, we're going to translate it to punish. Having to punish, literally. This is a constitutive aorist. In the aorist tense, it collects into one entirety the act of disobedience. Every time that you detect the act of disobedience, you bring it and you slaughter it by means of the problem-solving devices. You apply Bible doctrine to it. The active voice here, the truth, the problem-solving devices are the ones that produce the action of the verb, and the infinitive is the infinitive of direct object. It is not just complementary. This looks like a complementary infinitive. Having to punish, having the punishing. But it is an infinitive of direct object. An infinitive of direct object doesn't have to have the article. There's no article here. Yes, it can have the article, and yes, it's helpful, but it does not always have to have the article, such as in John chapter 5, verse 26. Just as so with the infinitive of subject. As we see in Philippians chapter 3, verse 1, there's no article here. So I'm going to be bold and say that this is an infinitive of direct object. This is the object that receives the action of the having. So you have what? The vengeance, the punishing of every act of disobedience. This phrase is the direct object. The direct object begins with the infinitive here. Okay. So, Echo says that you have and possess something. You possess the power of vengeance. Not on people, not on angels, but on your own disobedience, your own disobedient thoughts. The NIV again went and said, and we will be ready to punish every act of disobedience. Yes, I see, but here it really goes with the metaphor. You have the power of vengeance after you demolish those strongholds. How did I translate it? I'm going to go ahead and see really quick. And having the power to punish, all right? And having the power to punish, take vengeance. And now we have the accusative direct object of this infinitive. Remember, this whole clause functions as the object, beginning with the infinitive, but the accusative direct object receives the action of this infinitive here. Basan, the adjective bas, accusative feminine singular, all. And then its noun, the noun that it modifies, also accusative feminine singular of barakoe. This is the opposite of hupakoe. Hupakoe means obedience. Akupo, the verb, means to listen. Hupo means to listen under authority, and eventually means to be obedient. But barakoe means disobedience. What is a disobedience here? Everything that rises against the knowledge of God. Every doctrine that you refuse to use. Every time that you got outside of the divine power sphere and you resorted to your human viewpoint, to your human solutions, every refusal to remain inside the divine power sphere, that's every act of disobedience. Having the power to punish every act of, we're going to translate it, all disobedience that comes from your volition. Okay, and then here in the beginning, we should have translated it first because it's emphatic, in the emphatic position, and plus the dative of manner of etoimos. Etoimo means readiness. It means preparation, as we saw the verb etoimatsu. In the sphere of readiness. Smooth English will require us to put it as with readiness. So as a dative of manner, with readiness. It's in the emphatic position, expresses the importance of readiness, not allowing the thought to roam around. For a thought roaming around is eventually harbored inside of the soul and will leave the door open for more human viewpoint thoughts, for more arrogant thoughts. If you allow those captives to go around and regroup somewhere else, well, you're going to perpetuate the battle. You must take vengeance on your enemies immediately. Do not leave them roaming around. Do not let them regroup. You must take vengeance. And so the Bible must be interpreted in the time in which it was written, and so those enemies were slaughtered almost immediately. Whatever procession was used, or whatever ritual was done so. But right after that, they were executed. So you take vengeance on those enemies that harmed your troops, your fellow soldiers. Here they went against the truth, and now you vindicate the truth. You punish the act of disobedience with the truth itself, with Bible doctrine.